What's up guys, welcome to my channel, and this is the first video of several videos that I intend to record talking about university, talking about medicine and things related, and also some vlogs in the future maybe. So if you're interested in these type of things, don't forget to subscribe. It's gonna help me a lot in this brand new channel, and if you think the content is good, don't forget to like it. So let's get into it. If you click on this video, it's probably because you're thinking about studying medicine in some point in your life or even this year, and you want to take into consideration some options here in Europe. That's my case. That's the reason why I'm recording this video. So I just want to share some informations in general about the things that I found out and the things that might interest you in some point. I'm originally Brazilian, but I also have a citizenship from a country in Europe, which make things easier for me. But this year I have decided to study medicine, something that I always wanted to. I'm graduated in Brazil in biology, but I never had a chance to get into medical school because of the difficulty that it is to get into medicine, and also the high prices of the private schools around there. So yes, budget is a problem even here in Europe. I'm currently living in Ireland, and study medicine here, it's a possibility, but the prices are too high. If you're a foreigner, the prices are like really high. So what I want to say with that is that studying medicine in Europe, it's possible in most of the countries around here. But the things that are going to change, it's going to be the difficulty to get into the university, and also how much they're going to charge you for that year of study or that semester of study. So commonly when we're talking about medicine in Europe, people suggest some countries in the East Europe, because usually you can find some options that are easy to get in, and you're probably going to be paying around 7, 8, or even below that thousands per year, which is considerably taken into consideration. It's not that much. I know that Georgia is one of the options. It's pretty much easy to get into. You just have to organize your papers. If you're a foreigner, it might be a little bit harder. The prices might change a little bit, and when I mean foreigner, I mean outside Europe. But in general, it's an option that a lot of people consider it, because you can study the course in English even knowing that that's not their official language, and there are other countries that offer in English as well. The most interesting option that came up to me and that I'm considering seriously, it is to study medicine in Italy. Now, there's two possibilities to study medicine in Italy. One is through their national exam, and if you know a little bit of Italian, that might help. But there's a detail about this, and I'll just get back to it very quick. And the second option is through their English test, known as IMAT. And that's very popular because it allows you to study the whole course in English. Of course, that at some point you're gonna have to know Italian, because you're gonna be working in hospitals and having classes around people that are Italian, so you're gonna have to be able to communicate with them. But that usually happens after the third year of study, so you're gonna be living 3 years in Italy. I don't think that's gonna be a problem. And you should have like a level B or something like this. I think that's the minimum required. But there's no requirements to know Italian. The only requirements to know English. And while you do this test, most of the universities, when you're approved, they don't usually ask for any proof of English, because if you did the test in English, you probably know how to speak English, and you went. Yeah, we were approved, so. But you gotta be careful with that, because some universities also request like one of those traditional tests of English, like Cambridge or whatever. If you're interested in the IMAT, and if you want to know more about it, I can totally make a video just talking about that, talking about the exams, talking about the questions, and I intend even in the future make some videos talking about the biology questions, because it's the majority of the questions are biology. But in general, to be able to apply to these exams and afterwards apply to these universities, the process is going to depend a little bit if you are a non-European or if you're European. So as a European, you're probably just going to have to, if you're not Italian, you're probably just going to have to value of your studies of high school, you know, and in order to do that, you're going to have to go to an Italian embassy that will see all your papers that will have to be translated properly. And you're not going to have big of a hustle. You're just gonna have to be aware of the dates of the exam, and then after you are approved, you just show the documents that you got there, and it's all good. But if you are a non-European, you're gonna probably have to do a pre-enrollment that, if I'm not wrong, it's already open to do it, but you have no reason to rush into that. The pre-enrollment is just a process that you go through to make sure that you have all the informations, and to make it faster once you are approved and you have to do your enrollment in the university. So it's actually to help you more than anything. Other difference about EU or non-EU is regarding the test itself. So the EU, they have the option to choose different universities to study. So let's say you do the test, you have your score, and you, unfortunately, the first option you choose, you don't have enough points to get into that score of yours are going to go through other universities until you get into one, So if you don't get into any of those 10, probably gonna have to study a little bit more and try next year. But because of that, I usually say that it's way easier for Europeans to get into medical school in Italy. If you are a non-European, unfortunately, you just have one shot. So if you have the score to get into or not, that's it. And a good reason to study in Italy, beside the fact that you can study in English, is that the prices aren't that high. The most expensive you can pay is around 2.5k per year. But depending on how much your family makes or how much you make yourself, that can go down to like zero, and you're only gonna pay like some administrative fees. So that's very good. Now, going back to that little detail that I mentioned about the national exam, they don't know if that's gonna happen this year or not. So that means that you can't study medicine this year in Italian? No, that doesn't mean that. That means that they want to make the course of English open for everyone. Right now, most of the courses in Italy, they're open to study. Like, you just do your inscription, showing that you intend to study for that, and you get into the university easy like that. If they want to do that, the same thing with medicine. The problem is that medicine, it's a course that a lot of people want to study, so they really can't make it fully open for everyone. But the catch is, you're gonna study. If this is approved, if this has happened this year, you're gonna start studying the first semester. They don't know if it's gonna be online or presential. At the end of that semester, you're gonna have I believe it's 2 exams, that's not clarified yet, where it's gonna evaluate how much you learn through that semester. So the ones that has the best scores, they continue studying the course. The ones that don't have enough score, it's gonna have to or try it again the next semester, or maybe choose a different subject to study in university. And you can still use that first semester to be valid. Like if you want to change to pharmacy, for example, you're just gonna start from the second semester of pharmacy. So at least that's not all bad. But because this is so recent and they brought this so rushedly, there's a big chance where they're gonna continue with their national exam that is pretty much like IMAT, but all in Italian. So if you have any knowledge of Italian, that might be an option, an extra option. You can make an inscription for both of them. That doesn't mean that you have to choose one of those. So you have 2 chances to study medicine in Italy with the same fees, the same systems, and all that. Now, speaking of Portugal, because I'm Brazilian, I'm considering this option. So if you speak a little bit of Portuguese, that might be good for you. In Portugal, to study medicines, there are a couple of possibilities. One is, and I'm not going to go into details on that, but if you already have a graduation in any subject, there is a possibility where you can just subscribe to this special exam, and to get into is way easier than through the national exam. There's a couple of universities that offer that special interest, so if you want me to talk more about that, just let me know in the comments. Now, the national exam, it's a little bit different because they take into consideration your grades from high school and your grades on the test. So that's something that you have to be aware of. If you have good grades on high school, that's great. But if you don't, that might be a problem, because it is a bit more difficult to get into compared to the Italian test. But it's still easier than a lot of other places. And the best thing about that is that if you are a European, or if you had lived in Portugal for amount of time, you can pay the same price as the Portuguese people. That is max 700 euros. And you can pay in 10 installments. So you're gonna be basically paying 70 euros per month. So that's a good possibility. And the first thing you have to do is you have to make your documents from high school valid in Portugal. And the way you do that is to bring them to a school in Portugal. They're going to be able to do this, and they're going to give you the final grade that you're going to use to compare. So it's kind of, you're going to be bond with that school in some way, because the exams, the application will be in that school. And to study medicine, you have to take 3 tests. One of them is math, biology, and geology, and the other one is chemistry and physics. But you're gonna take these tests individually. So if you don't live in Portugal and you're just going to do the exams, I recommend you to book a whole week, because what can happen, and it's gonna be the case for this year, is that one test will be on a Monday, the other test will be on Friday, and the other test will be on Monday of the next week. You know, so it's gonna take a whole 7 days to finish those tests. After that, you have your grades. You compare with your high school grades, and through a different platform, you just see if you have enough points, scores for getting in. Of course, I'm just talking about these all generically, because if I really go into the details of each one of the things that I'm intending to explore with you guys, it's gonna take way too much time. But if you're interested in something specific that I mentioned here, just let me know. I'll be happy to help you in the comments, and even maybe make a video specifically talking about something like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys on the next one.